A History Museum Guide. Chapter 1. History Museums, mostly United States. 1. Find history museums at aam-us.org/about-museums/find-a-museum and museumsusa.org/museums. aam-us.org/about-museums/find-a-museum lists several categories of history museums 10 at a time by state. They code their website so you can only extract one website at a time if you click on the museum. At museumsusa.org/museums, these are how many of these museums they list for the United States. Culture, 1,876. History, 6,866. Historic House, 2,274. Historical Society, 3,335. Natural History, 540. The American Association for State and Local History. AASLH.org. They provide info about events and publications. There are no lists of members or museums. Maybe if you join and pay their fee, they provide lists of their member museums. Facebook.com/AASLH. Twitter.com/AASLH. LinkedIn.com/company/American-for-state-and-local-history. YouTube.com/channels/UQ5WY17TNOACEP0UEHCSG. United States History Museum websites. AmericanHistory.si.edu, Museum of American History. Censusfinder.com/guide_to_historical_museums.hdm. Scouter.com/compass/where_to_go/historic_sites, historicalsites.1856.com, Arabia Steamboat Museum, 1856, Kansas City, MO. Abanit.org/museum, Museum of Law, American Bar Association, Chicago, IL. AbbayMuseum.org, Abbay Museum, Native American Heritage, Bar Harbor, Maine. ActionFigureMuseum.com, Toy and Action Figure Museum, Pauls Valley, OK. AdamsMuseumandHouse.org, Adams Museum, Deadwood, SD. AdamsMuseumandHouse.org/index.php, Adams Museum and House, Deadwood, SD. AgaLawFame.com/index.aspx, National Agricultural Center and Hall of Fame, Bonner Springs, KS. AgMuseum.com, SD. Agricultural Heritage Museum, Brookings, SD. alhfam.org/index.php $?NAV_NAV_tree=153,160,146, Living History, Agricultural, and Open Air Museums. alpelm.org/home.html, Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum, Springfield, IL. AmericanHistory.si.edu, National Museum of American History, Smithsonian, Washington, D.C. AmericanHistory.si.edu, National Museum of American History, Smithsonian. AmericanJazzMuseum.com, American Jazz Museum, Kansas City, MO. AMNH.org, American Museum of Natural History, New York, New York. ArabAmericanMuseum.org, Arab American National Museum, Detroit, MI. Archives.gov/presidential-libraries, Presidential Libraries, U.S. AtomicMuseum.com, National Museum of Nuclear Science and History, Albuquerque, NM. AtomicTestingMuseum.org, Atomic Testing Museum, Las Vegas, NV. AutreyNationalCenter.org, Gene Autry Museum of the American West, Los Angeles, CA. az.com/museum/mesa_southwest.html, Mesa Southwest Museum, Mesa, AZ. bbhc.org/dmnh/index.cfm, Draper Museum of Natural History, Cody, WY. bbhc.org/home/index_flash.cfm, Buffalo Bill Historical Center, Cody, WY. bbhc.org/home/index_flash.cfm, Buffalo Bill Historical Center, Cody, WY. bbhc.org/pim/index.cfm, Plains Indian Museum, Cody, WY. bellmuseum.org, Bell Museum of Natural History, University of Minnesota, Minneapolis, MN. buckhornmuseum.com, Buckhorn Saloon and Museum, San Antonio, TX. California Historical Society.org/program/ca_listings/001.html, California Historical Agencies by County. CarnegieMNH.org, Carnegie Museum of Natural History, Pittsburgh, PA. CarterMuseum.org, Amon Carter Museum, Fort Worth, TX, Art of Remington and Russell. CasperWY.gov/parks-recreationa-nd entertainment/concerts cultural pastimes/Fort Casper Museum/tabid/188/default.aspx, Fort Casper Museum, Casper, WY. CattlerRacersMuseum.org, Cattle Raisers Museum, Fort Worth, TX. CGVHS.org, Casa Grande Valley Museum, Casa Grande, AZ. CharlestonMuseum.org/topic.asp?ID=1, Charleston Museum, America's First Museum, 1773, Charleston, SC. CherokeeHeritage.org, Cherokee Heritage Center, Tahlequah, OK. CherokeeHeritage.org, Cherokee Heritage Center, Tahlequah, OK. CivilRightsMuseum.org, National Civil Rights Museum. CivilRightsMuseum.org, National Civil Rights Museum, Memphis, TN. Cliveden.org, Cliveden House, National Trust Historic Site, Philadelphia, PA. cmrussell.org, cm. cnd.org/cr/English, Cultural Revolution Museum, Virtual Museum on the Chinese Cultural Revolution. coat.org, Coalition of Historical Trekkers. ComancheMuseum.com, Comanche National Museum and Cultural Center, Lawton, OK. CommunityLink.reviewjournal.com/servlet/lvrj_proc/db page =page git $0.005900000963611050944693 Common Nevada Department of Museums, Library and Arts. ConstitutionCenter.org, National Constitution Center, Philadelphia, PA. Cosmo.org, Kansas Cosmosphere and Space Center, Hutchinson, KS. CrimeMuseum.org, National Museum of Crime and Punishment, Washington, D.C. CSC.edu/Sandoz, Mari Sandoz High Plains Heritage Center, Chadron, NE. CSC.edu/Sandoz, Mari Sandoz High Plains Heritage Center, Chadron, NE. csi.ad.jp/abom/index.html, Hiroshima A-Bomb Museum. csbm.org, Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum, Colorado Springs, CO. csbm.org, Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum, Colorado Springs, CO. csrhc.org, Cherokee Strip Regional Heritage Center, Enid, OK. custerbattlefield.org, Custer Battlefield Historical Museum. DakotaPrairieMuseum.com, Dakota Prairie Museum, Aberdeen, SD. DallasHeritageVillage.org, Dallas Heritage Village, Dallas, TX. DAYSOF76.com/museum.aspx, Days of 76 Historic Museum, Deadwood, SD. DDayMuseum.org, National World War II Museum, World War II, New Orleans, LA. doi.gov/iacb/museum/museum_plains.html, Museum of the Plains Indian, Browning, MT. doi.gov/iacb/museum/museum_s_plains.html, Southern Plains Indian Museum, Anadarko, OK. DurhamMuseum.org, Durham Western Heritage Museum, Omaha, NE. DWHM.org, Durham Western Heritage Museum, Omaha, NE. EMPSFM.org/index.asp, Experience Music Project. Science Fiction Museum, Seattle, WA. EndofTheOregonTrail.org/mambo, End of the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center, Oregon City, or EndofTheOregonTrail.org/mambo, End of the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center, Oregon City, or Exploratorium.org, Exploratorium Museum of Science, Art, and Human Perception. explore-evolution.unl.edu, Explore Evolution, University of Nebraska State Museum, Lincoln, NE. FannyandFriends.com, Fanny and Friends. Farnsworthhouse.org/index.htm, Farnsworth House, National Trust for Historic Preservation, Plano, IL. fdrlibrary.marist.edu, Franklin D. Roosevelt Presidential Library and Museum. fieldmuseum.org, The Field Museum, Chicago, IL. fortmissoulamuseum.org, Historical Museum at FT. freedommuseum.us, Freedom Museum, Chicago. frontierfolk.net/mb, 18th Century Frontier Trekking Reenacting Forum. frontierfolk.org/trekking.htm, Kentucky Trekking. gamblehouse.org, Gamble House, 1908 American Arts and Crafts House Museum, Pasadena, CA. George Peabody House Museum.org/gph/index.html, George Peabody House Museums, Peabody, Ma. GhostTownSousa.com, Boomtowns of Northeastern Washington. Gibson House, Woodland, CA. Gilcrease.org, Gilcrease Museum, the Museum of the Americas, Tulsa, OK. Gilcrease.org, Gilcrease Museum, the Museum of the Americas, Tulsa, OK. HaleyLibrary.com, Haley Library and History Center, Midland, TX. HeartMuseum.org, William S. HarvestOfHistory.org/explore.html, The Farmers Museum, New York State Historical Association, New York. HistoricalOldWest.org/index.html, Historical Old West Reenactments of the Old West as It Was, by an 1880 Arizona Cowboy. HistoricNewEngland.org, Historic New England, Boston, Ma., the oldest and largest regional heritage organization in the U.S. History.nd.gov/exhibits/index.html, North Dakota Heritage Center, Bismarck, ND. History.org/history/museum/online_exhibits.cfm, Colonial Williamsburg Online Museum. HistoryColorado.org/museums, History Colorado, Museums, Denver, CO. Holmes.anthropology.museum, Holmes Anthropology Museum, WSU, Wichita, KS. Holmes.anthropology.museum/Southwest Pottery, Southwest Indian Pueblo Pottery, 360-degree virtuals of Pueblo pottery. Holmes.anthropology.museum/Southwest Pottery/index.html, Southwest Indian Pueblo Pottery, Holmes Anthropology Museum, Wichita, KS. HubbardMuseum.org, Hubbard Museum of the American West, Ruidoso Downs, NM. HubbardMuseum.org, Hubbard Museum of the American West, Ruidoso Downs, NM. HydeHall.org, Hyde Hall, 1817 Neoclassic Country Mansion, Cooperstown, New York. IndianaArtsandCulture.org, Museum of Indian Arts and Culture, Santa Fe, NM. ipl.si.umich.edu/div/det Jazz, Swinging Through Time, The Greystone Museum and the Story of Detroit Jazz, IPL. iwm.org.uk/lambeth/lambeth.htm, Imperial War Museum. James Madison.org, James Madison Museum, Orange, VA. janem.org, Japanese American National Museum, Los Angeles, CA. journeymuseum.org, Journey Museum, Rapid City, SD. journeymuseum.org/index.php?PG =Su, Indian Museum, Rapid City, SD. kansashistory.us/fortco/preview/preview.html, kansashistory.us/ksstateorg.html number sign museums, Kansas History Museums. kshof.org, Kansas Sports Hall of Fame, Newton, KS. las-cruces/public-services/museums/mfa.shtm, Museum of Art, Las Cruces, NM. lcweb2.loc.gov/cocoon/legacies/az/2000027004.html, American Buffalo Soldiers Reenactors Association. leonasadobemuseum.org, Leonis Adobe Museum, Calabasas, CA. Lewis and Clark Exhibit.org, Lewis and Clark, the National Bicentennial Exhibition MO. Lewis and Clark Exhibit.org/index_flash.html, Lewis and Clark National Bicentennial Exhibition, ST. LHF.org, Living History Farms. LibertyMuseum.org, National Liberty Museum, Heroes in History and the Founding of the U.S. losalamoshistory.org/museum.htm, Los Alamos Historical Museum, Los Alamos, NM. losalamoshistory.org/museum.htm, Los Alamos Historical Museum, Los Alamos, NM. magnus.org. myaclab.org, Museum of Indian Arts and Culture, Santa Fe, NM. millcitymuseum.org, Mill City Museum, Minnesota Historical Society, Minneapolis, MN. miningmuseum.org, World Museum of Mining, Butte, Montana. miningmuseum.org, World Museum of Mining, Butte, MT. mnh.si.edu, National Museum of Natural History, Smithsonian. moc.org, Museum of the Confederacy. mojavemuseum.org/museum.html, Mojave Museum of History and Arts, Kingman, AZ. Monticello.org, Monticello, VA, home of Thomas Jefferson. mos.org, Museum of Science, Boston, MA. mountvernon.org, Mount Vernon, VA, George Washington's Estate and Gardens. msichicago.org, Museum of Science and Industry, Chicago, IL. museumca.org, Oakland Museum of California, Oakland, CA. Museum of the American West.org/explore/exhibits/suffrage, Women of the West Museum. Museum of World War II.com, Museum of World War II, Natick, MA. museumsw.org, Museum of the Southwest, Midland, TX. museumswest.org, Museums West, Western Museums of North America. museumswest.org, Museums West, Western Museums of North America. myspace.com/Mueller CHMIDT House, Mueller Schmidt House Museum. MySpace. nationalcowboymuseum.org, National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, Oklahoma City, OK. natural-history.u Oregon.edu, Oregon Museum of Natural History, Eugene, or. nbm.org, National Building Museum, Washington, D.C. nelsonmuseum.com, Nelson Museum of the West, Cheyenne, WY. newsum.org, Newsum, the Interactive Museum of News. nhm.org, Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County, Los Angeles, CA. nimitz-museum.org, National Museum of the Pacific War, Fredericksburg, Texas. NLBM.com, Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, Kansas City, MO. NMI.si.edu, National Museum of the American Indian Smithsonian. nmi.si.edu/Living Voices, National Museum of the American Indian. nmajmh.org, National Museum of American Jewish Military History, Washington, D.C. nmwh.org, Museum of Women's History. northwestmuseum.org, Northwest Museum of Arts and Culture, Spokane, WA. nps.gov/archive/jeff/bull_boat.html, Museum of Westward Expansion Tour, The Bull Boat. nps.gov/archive/jeff/expansion_museum.html, Museum of Westward Expansion, St. Louis, MO. nps.gov/archive/libi/indmem.htm, Indian Memorial at Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument, Crow Agency, MT. nps.gov/libi, Little Bighorn Battle National Monument, MT. nps.gov/perry/index.htm, Pea Ridge National Military Park. nww1.org, National World War I Museum, WWI Liberty Memorial, Kansas City, MO. NewYorkHistory.org, NY. OatmanGold.com, Oatman Gold from Oatman, Arizona. OberlinHeritage.org, Oberlin Heritage Center, Oberlin, O. O'KeefeMuseum.org, Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, Santa Fe, NM. O'KeefeMuseum.org/indexflash.php, Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, Santa Fe, NM. OldCowtown.org, Old Cowtown Museum, Wichita, KS. OldWestMuseum.org, Cheyenne Frontier Days Old West Museum, Cheyenne, WY. OldWestMuseum.org, Cheyenne Frontier Days Old West Museum, WY. ou.edu/fjjma/collections/collections-photography.html, Fred Jones Jr. PamplinPark.org/national_museum.html, National Museum of the Civil War Soldier, Pamplin Park, Petersburg, VA. Panhandleplains.org, Panhandle Plains Historical Museum, Kenyon, TX. Parks.ca.gov/page_ID=498, California Governor's Mansion State Historic Park, Sacramento, CA. Parks.ca.gov/page_ID=498, California Governor's Mansion State Historic Park, Sacramento, CA. PierceCollections.us, Pierce Western Art Museum, Corsicana, TX. PhilipJohnsonGlasshouse.org, Glasshouse, Philip Johnson, National Trust for Historic Preservation, New Canaan, CT. Phoenix.gov/police/museum1.html, Phoenix Police History Museum, Phoenix, AZ. Plymouth.org/index.htm, Plymouth Plantation, Plymouth, MA. PonyExpress.org, Pony Express Museum, St. Joseph, MO. PostalMuseum.si.edu, National Postal Museum, Smithsonian. PowellMuseum.org, John Wesley Powell Memorial Museum, Page, AZ. PRMuseum.com, Museum of Public Relations, New York, New York. RegionalHeritageCenter.org/01.htm, Cherokee Strip Regional Heritage Center, Enid, OK. RideIntoHistory.com, Ride into History. RMQM.org, Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum, Golden, CO. Rockhall.com/museum, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum, Cleveland, O. sc94.ames.lab.gov/tours/notamart.html, sccc.acamaskycity.org, Sky City Cultural Center and Hockey Museum, Acoma Pueblo, NM. SDA-IRONSpaceMuseum.com, South Dakota Air and Space Museum, Box Elder, SD. SeattleHistory.org, Museum of History and Industry, Seattle, WA. si.edu, Smithsonian Institution. si.edu/nmi, American Indian Museum. silvercitymuseum.org, Silver City Museum, Silver City, NM. skyways.lib.ks.us/museums, Kansas Museums. skyways.lib.ks.us/org/Fort Co, Ford County, KS, Historical Society. skyways.org/org/Fort Co/preview/preview.html, Mueller Schmidt House, 1881, Museum, Dodge City, KS. smartmuseum.uchicago.edu, Smart Museum, University of Chicago. smm.org/Mars 3D, Science Museum of Minnesota. smokymuseum.org, Smoky Museum of American Indian Art and Culture, Prescott, AZ. snowmnh.ou.edu, Sam Noble Oklahoma Museum of Natural History, Norman, OK. sos.state.mi.us/history/museum/explore/museum/1930s Great Depression Gallery, Michigan Historical Museum. spertus.edu/museum/index.php, Spertus Museum, Chicago's Jewish Museum. springdaleark.org/Shiloh, Shiloh Museum of Ozark History, Springdale, AK. spymuseum.org/see/exhibit_perm.asp, International Spy Museum, Washington, D.C. stanhighwet.org, Stan Highwet Hall and Gardens Historic House Museum, Akron, O. statemuseum.arizona.edu/drsw, Arizona State Museum. stjosephmuseum.org, st. tenement.org, Lower East Side Tenement Museum, National Trust Historic Site, New York, New York. Texas Military Forces Museum.org, Texas Military Forces Museum. TexasRanger.org, Texas Ranger Hall of Fame and Museum. TexasRanger.org, the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame and Museum, Waco, TX. TheHenryFord.org, the Henry Ford Museum, Detroit, Michigan, MI. TheLincolnMuseum.org. TheMime.org, Musical Instrument Museum, Phoenix, AZ. TheTech.org, the Tech Museum of Innovation, San Jose, California. TheWomen'sMuseum.org, the Women's Museum, Dallas, TX. tibetan-museum-society.org/java/home.jsp, Tibetan Museum Society, Alexandria, VA. trumanlibrary.org, Truman Presidential Museum and Library, President Harry S. Truman, Independence MO. ugrrf.org, Underground Railroad Museum. umw.edu/James Monroe Museum, James Monroe Museum and Memorial Library, Fredericksburg, VA. usham.org, Holocaust Memorial Museum. usham.org, United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, Washington, D.C. usmcmuseum.org, National Museum of the Marine Corps, Triangle, VA. uwyo.edu/Art Museum, University of Wyoming Art Museum. uwyo.edu/Art Museum, University of Wyoming Art Museum. vlib.us/history/museums.html. vlib.us/history/museums.html, US History Museums. www.vl, History. vlib.us/history/sites.html, USA Historic Sites. vpa.org/museumsaz.html, Historical House Museums in Arizona. wdm.ca, Western Development Museum, Saskatchewan, Canada. WeirdGardens.com, Weird Gardens Baltimore. WheelerJoban.com/clients/AFRG, American Frontier Reenactment Guild. WildWestWeb.net, Old West Reenactors at Teddy's Bunkhouse. yolo.net/vme/ychm, Yolo County Historical Museum. U.S. Presidential Libraries and Museums. archives.gov/presidential-libraries/visit, presidential libraries and museums, library locations. History Museum websites at dmoz-odp.org/reference/museum/history. Subcategories: Archaeology, Cultural, Historic houses, Living history and open air, Natural history, War, Women, Asia, Europe, North America, Oceania. Related categories: Reference museums by region, Society genealogy, Society history. media1.mweb.co.za/Wellington Museum, Wellington Museum showcases the history of Wellington and includes a rare collection of Egyptian artifacts. Located in South Africa. Musewida.org, the Wida Museum of History, presents themes, history, general information, attractions, and food and lodging. Located in Benin. museums-ioj.org.jm, National Museum Jamaica, collects, preserves and documents the island's material culture. Provides information on their exhibitions and collections. Chapter 2. History Museums, mostly United States. 2. U.S. History Museums at dmoz-odp.org/reference/museums/history/North_America/United_States. Subcategories: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, Washington, D.C., Wisconsin, Wyoming. African American. Living history and open air. Native American. Carpelas.com, Carpelas Manuscript Library. This is a museum holding the largest private collection of original manuscripts and documents in the world. Locations in Buffalo, Charleston, Duluth, Jacksonville, Newburgh, Santa Barbara, Tacoma. little-mountain.com/O Island Gas Museum, Oil and Gas Museum, dedicated to the history of the oil and gas industries in West Virginia and Ohio. Includes news, directions, and membership information. Located in Parkersburg, West Virginia. A list of history museums at thefearlessforeigner.com/activities/museums/the-ultimate-history-museums-in-the-us. Pinterest.com/thefearlessforeigner. Facebook.com/thefearlessforeigner. Twitter.com/thefearless41. etix.com/ticket/online, look for history museum events. 52PERFECT-DAYS.com/Missouri/a-perfect-day-history-in-Kansas-city-mo. AtlantaHistoryCenter.com. ChicagoHistory.org. csginger.com/13-fun-things-to-see-in-Las-Vegas-Nevada. FamilyTravelLifestyle.com. FemaleZoloTrek.com. GettyOurGuide.com. guidetophilly.com/1-day-in-Philadelphia. marthasvineyard-tourist.com/things-to-in-Massachusetts. theworldwar.org. mymichigan-travel.com/henry-ford-museum-greenfield-village. periodic-adventures.com/a-locals-guide-to-los-angeles-museums. recreation.gov. bulbulonthewing.com/top-things-to-do-in-India. travelbybrit.com. Chapter 2. The main history museums by U.S. state. United States official state museums. Historic societies by state. museums.state.ak.us/asmhome.html, Alaska State Museum. statemuseum.arizona.edu, Arizona State Museum. oldstatehouse.com, Museum of Arkansas History. sos.ca.gov/archives/archives.htm, California State Museum. coloradohistory.org, Colorado Historical Society. history.delaware.gov/museum/default.shtml, Delaware State Museums. state.id.us/issues/index.html, Idaho State Historical Society. museum.state.il.us, Illinois State Museum. iowahistory.org/museum/index.html, Historical Society of Iowa. indianamuseum.org, Indiana State Museum. kshs.org/places/museum.htm, Kansas Museum of History. history.ky.gov/sub.php Page ID =83 Section ID =2 Kentucky History Center. lsm.crt.state.la.us, Louisiana State Museum. state.me.us/museum, Maine State Museum. mdhs.org, Maryland Historical Society. michigan.gov/HAL/0,160-17-164-18595_1746-5-17-5_00.html, Michigan Historical Center. mnhs.org/places/history center, Minnesota History Center. mohistory.org, Missouri Historical Society. his.state.mt.us, Montana Historical Society. state.nj.us/state/museum, New Jersey State Museum. nysem.nicd.gov, New York State Museum. nchistory.dcr.state.nc.us/museums, North Carolina History Museum. state.nd.us/hist, North Dakota Historical SOC. ok-history.mus.ok.us, Oklahoma Historical Society. ohs.org, Oregon Historical Society. statemusumpa.org, Pennsylvania State Museum. museum.state.sc.us, South Carolina State Museum. tnmuseum.org, Tennessee State Museum. vahistorical.org, Virginia Historical Society. wshs.org, Washington Historical Society. wvculture.org/museum/index.html, West Virginia State Museum. wisconsinhistory.org/museum, Wisconsin Historical Museum. wyomuseum.state.wy.us, Wyoming State Museum. Chapter 3. Heritage/Historic Places. United States Historic Sites and Landmarks. nationaltrust.org/11 most, 11 most endangered historic American places, National Trust for Historic Preservation. memory.loc.gov/mm/hhhtml/hhhome.html, Historic American Buildings Survey. ah.dcr.state.nc.us/sections/hs/default.htm, North Carolina Historic Sites. arlingtoncemetery.org/index.htm, Arlington National Cemetery. ashlonhighland.org, James Monroe Home Ashlawn Highland, Charlottesville, VA. brownvboard.org/Monroe/tour, Brown v. Cliveden.org, Cliveden House, National Trust Historic Site, Philadelphia, PA. Concnet.com/Hillsborough/historic/homestead.html, Franklin Pierce Homestead, Hillsborough, NH. cr.nps.gov/nr/travel/geo-floor/39.htm, Miami, Florida. Historic Places, National Register of Historic Places. cr.nps.gov/nr/travel/geo-floor/g-f-intro.htm, Georgia. Florida Coast Historic Places, National Register of Historic Places. fdr-littleWhitehouse.org, Franklin Roosevelt Little White House Historic Site, Warm Springs, GA. Grouselandfoundation.org, William H. Gunstonhall.org, Gunston Hall, George Mason IV, 1725–1792, National Historic Landmark, Mason Neck, VA. hawai.nation.org/moolelo.html, A Brief History of Hawaii. Historiclakes.org, Lake Champlain and Lake George Historical Site. isu.edu/%7etrinimh/sites.html, Historic Sites along the Oregon Trail. jameskpoke.com/new/pokehome.asp, James K. mnhs.org/places/sites, Minnesota State Historic Sites. Monticello.org, Monticello, home of Thomas Jefferson, Charlottesville, Virginia. Montpelier.org, James Madison's Montpelier, VA. Mountvernon.org, Mount Vernon George Washington Mansion, MT. Nixonlibrary.org, Richard Nixon Birthplace, Yorba Linda, CA. nps.gov/Adam, John Adams National Historic Site, Quincy, MA. nps.gov/Anja, Andrew Johnson National Historic Site, Greenville, TN. nps.gov/archive/libi/indmem.htm, Indian Memorial at Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument, Crow Agency, MT. nps.gov/eisc/index.htm, Eisenhower National Historic Site, Gettysburg, PA. nps.gov/foth/index.htm, Ford's Theater National Historic Site, Washington, D.C. nps.gov/in/visit.html, Historic Philadelphia. nps.gov/JICA, Jimmy Carter National Historic Site, Plains, GA. nps.gov/Joe John Fitzgerald Kennedy National Historic Site, National Park Services, Brookline, MA. nps.gov/MAVA, Martin Van Buren National Historic Site, Kinderhook, New York. nps.gov/nr/presidents/Bill_Clinton_birthplace.html, Bill Clinton Birthplace, Hope, AR. nps.gov/SAHI, Sagamore Hill National Historic Site, Theodore Roosevelt Home, Oyster Bay, New York. nps.gov/thrb/index.htm, Theodore Roosevelt Birthplace National Historic Site, New York. osv.org, Old Sturbridge Village, MA. Philip Johnson Glasshouse.org, Glass House, Philip Johnson, National Trust for Historic Preservation, New Canaan, CT. Plymouth.org/index.htm, Plymouth Plantation, Plymouth, MA. Preservationnation.org/travel-in-sites, Historic Places, National Trust for Historic Preservation. rfkmemorial.org, Robert Kennedy Memorial. Tenement.org, Lower East Side Tenement Museum, National Trust Historic Site, New York, New York. TheHermitage.com, The Hermitage, Andrew Jackson, Hermitage, TN. WoodrowWilson.org, Woodrow Wilson Birthplace and Museum, Stanton, VA. lib.utexas.edu/maps/historic_parks.html, National Historic Sites. Heritage events/heritage websites. Contact either the state tourist boards or the local Chamber of Commerce's for more information. heritage.org/research/legal-issues/index.cfm. Preserve.org, Preserve and Protect, an organization devoted to preserving historic sites throughout the U.S. Frontierheritage.org. Interpnet.com, National Association for Interpretation. AmericanHeritage.com. Heritage.org, the Heritage Foundation. HeritageQuestOnline.com. American Historic Tourist Places. Although every state has its regular fare of historic sites, just go to nps.gov and look up the national monuments. These are the major modern-day historic communities/museums/villages. nps.gov/nr/travel/underground/states.htm, list of sites for the Underground Railroad travel itinerary. tripatlas.com/national_historic_register. hnsa.org, Historic Naval Ships Visitors Guide. uscg.mil/hq/gcp/history, Coast Guard. americanhistory.si.edu. cr.nps.gov/nr, National Register of Historic Sites. history.org. historyamerica.com, 800-628-8542, Tour Company. hydra.gsa.gov/pbs/centers/arts/index.htm, U.S. Historic Federal Buildings. infoplease.com/ipa/0908227.html. National Register of Historic Places.com, nps.gov/nr/travel, National Register of Historic Places, National Park Service. nationaltrust.org/dozen_distinctive_destinations. nationaltrust.org/travel/where.html. nps.gov/nhl/index.htm, National Historic Landmarks. uniquetours.com, New York City. smithsonianjourneys.org, 877-338-8687. thehistorynet.com/historic traveler. washingtonwalks.com, Washington, D.C. amanacolonies.com. 800-579-2294. German towns. Antietam National Battlefield. Sharpsburg, M.D. Appomattox Courthouse. National Historic Park. Appomattox, VA. Arrowhead/Aerospace Museums. 24 Campground Road. Manchester, Tennessee 37355. 931-723-1323. Bodie State Historic Park. Bridgeport, California 93517. 619-647-6445. Chester County Historical Society. 225 North High St. Westchester, Pennsylvania 19380. 610-692-4800. chestercohistorical.org. Columbia State Historic Park. Columbia, California 95310. 209-532-4301. Farmers Museum. Cooperstown, New York 13326. 607-547-2533. Fredericksburg Battlefield. Fredericksburg, VA. Genesee Country Museum. Flint Hill, RD. Mumford, New York 14511. 716-538-6822. Gettysburg, PA. National Military Park. Harold Warp's Pioneer Village. 138 East Highway 6. POB 68. Minden, Nebraska 68959. 800-445-4447. pioneervillage.org. Henry Ford Museum and Greenfield Village. POB 1970. Dearborn, Michigan 48121. 313-271-1620. History America Tours. Dallas, TX. 800-628-8542. 972-713-7171. HistoryAmerica.com. Trips to historic sites. Hopewell Furnace National Historic Site. RD1, Box 345. Elverson, Pennsylvania 19520. 215-582-8773. Jamestown Settlement. Jamestown, Virginia 23187. 757-229-1607. HistoryIsFun.org. Kelowna Historic Village. Highway 22E. and 9th St. Kelowna, IA. 319-656-3232. Homage. Creedy's Country Store Museum. 55 North Water St. Lititz, Pennsylvania 17543. 717-626-5684. LititzzJunction.com/Creedy's Museum. Lincoln's New Salem State Park. Route 97. Petersburg, Illinois 62675. 217-632-4000. petersburgil.com/p_newsalem.html. Living History Farms. Urbandale, IA. 515-278-5286. lhf.org. Lumbertown, USA. Chamber of Commerce. Brainerd, Minnesota 56401. 218-829-2838. Martha Barker Country Store Museum. 3815 North Custer Road. Monroe, Michigan 48162. 734-240-7780. Museum of American Frontier Culture. Stanton, VA. 540-332-7850. FrontierMuseum.org. Mystic Seaport Museum. Mystic, Connecticut 06355. 860-572-5315. MysticSeaport.org. Northampton County Museum. 203 West Jefferson St. Pub 664. Jackson, North Carolina 27845. 252-534-2911. Old City Park. Dallas, TX. 214-421-5141. OldCityPark.org. Old Sturbridge Village. Sturbridge, Massachusetts 01566. 800-733-1830. 508-347-3362. OSV.org. Patterson's Mill Country Store. 5109 Farrington Road. Chapel Hill, North Carolina 27514. 919-493-8149. Pioneer, Arizona Living History Museum. Phoenix, AZ. 623-465-1052. pioneer-arizona.org. Plymouth Plantation. Plymouth, Massachusetts 02360. 508-746-1622. Plymouth.org. Polynesian Cultural Center. 55-370 Kamehameha Highway. Laie, Hawaii 96762. 800-367-7060. 808-293-3333. Shelburne Museum. U.S. Route 7. POG 10. Shelburne, Vermont 05482. 802-985-3346. ShelburneMuseum.org. Southampton Historical Museum. 17 Meeting House Lane. Southampton, New York 11968. 631-283-2494. St. Augustine, Florida. St. John's Chamber of Commerce. 1 Riberia St. 904-829-5681. St. Augustine's Oldest Store Museum. 4 Artillery Lane, St. Augustine, Florida 32084. 904-829-9729. Stir Museum of the Prairie Frontier. 3133 West Highway 34. Grand Island, Nebraska 68801. 308-381-5316. Strawberry Bank Museum. epub 300. Portsmouth, New Hampshire 03801. 603-433-1100. The Brick Store Museum. 117 Main St. Kennebunk, Maine 04043. 207-985-4802. The Henry Sheldon Museum of Vermont History. 1 Park St. Middlebury, Vermont 05753. 802-388-2117. henrysheldonmuseum.org. Ushers Ferry Historic Village. 5925 Seminole Valley TR. 319-286-5763. Ushers Ferry at cedar-rapids.org. cedar-rapids.org. Vicksburg National Military Park. Vicksburg, MS. Westville 1850. Lumpkin, Georgia 31815. 912-838-6310. Yorktown. Colonial National Historic Park. Yorktown, Virginia 23690. 804-898-3400.